Welcome to the County Manager's Report. I'm Lloyd Higuera. With me is County Manager Jim Nichols. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
And we're going to take a look today at the August 6th and August 20th meeting of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners. And starting off with August 6th, that meeting was at Minden, and the major topic of conversation was flooding. Commissioners heard a presentation on the flash flooding that took place here in Douglas County during July. And there was quite a discussion there, and I wondered if you could kind of recap the discussion and also give us any updates that might have come up.
Sure. It was a lengthy and very detailed presentation. Majority of it was presented by Chief Carlini from the fire district, and I really want to give him a lot of credit. He and his staff really stepped up during the event. I also give a lot of credit to many county employees who responded in various fashions during the floods, and their work and their efforts cannot be overstated. The update basically consisted of talking about what we did, meaning staff, and how we responded. The chief wisely set up a field office at one of the fire stations in the vicinity of the flooding. And that was a big help, especially compared to the flood events last year. It gave the local residents a place to go, place to find out what's going on, place even to get sandbags, and also to advise representatives from the county as to their situations and the damages they were seeing at their properties. I think at last count the chief had mentioned that there were 9 specific homes that suffered distinct damage to the buildings themselves. A lot more folks suffered damage to landscaping and property. There was a lot of damage to county infrastructure. Unfortunately, we don't believe we're going to qualify for the level needed to be able to secure any federal grants. We haven't given up. We're still evaluating that and seeing what we can do. We're also going to look at our damage on a regional basis to see if that may help us. That same day as that item was presented, we also held a public meeting nearby where different representatives from different county departments were available to meet with residents about flooding issues. We had representatives from the fire district, from engineering, from our stormwater group, and even people there from BLM. And so that was a big help as well, because it gave residents people to talk to, and after things had calmed down a little bit, then they could get some constructive information on what their options were or what things we were doing to try and address flooding in the area. And I credit the chairman for that concept as far as wanting to give the public a place to get all these resources and get all the information they needed in one spot. So that was really what we outlined for the community, and really the bottom line is that it was a tragic event, series of events really,
Right.
And our sympathies continue to go out to everyone who was affected. Nothing we can say or do will undo the damage, and all we can do right now is try to work proactively forward to hopefully prevent this from happening again, or at least reduce the impact. Now, you also asked for what's happened since.
Sure.
We'll be going to the board in September to present our different ideas and concepts that we want to utilize to address flooding problems and really drainage in general. Initially, we were just going, before this flood, we were going to be coming back to them regarding maintenance of private driveway culverts, but basically the floods beat us to the punch, and so now we've had to really expand our scope and look globally at how we address drainage in the county, and in turn how we can try to prevent or at least reduce the impact of future flooding events.
I guess it's not really a matter of if, but when it's going to happen again.
Right. And the other thing that we really need to remind people is that the magnitude of the storms we've been seeing, or that we've seen that have caused these floods, are far and away well above and beyond the capacity of our drainage systems to handle it. And it's not because our systems are necessarily undersized. there's just no way to design and build systems that handle the quantities of drainage we were seeing. And that doesn't take the sting away, it doesn't take away the damage, but it really is an issue that we need to look at and see how we can best address the situation in light of the types of storm events we've seen over the past year and a half.
So I guess we'll be hearing a lot more about this at future board meetings.
Correct. And really the important message also is that there is no quick fix to this.
Yeah.
No matter what we do, we are years away, and it's not a matter of us dragging our feet or not wanting to be responsive, but the types of projects and the types of efforts that are needed are just going to take a long time for us to see that benefit.
Okay, so we'll be hearing a lot more about flooding in the future here.
Yes.
Well, also at the August 6th meeting, commissioners approved a 2-year labor agreement between Douglas County and the Douglas County Employees Association. Can you give us some details on that agreement?
Sure. Very happy that we were able to reach an agreement with them. Their team was very good to work with. We really appreciated their professionalism. A lot of the things that we agreed to were similar to items that were brought forward to the board a few months ago relative to our non-represented employees. That includes things like increasing our vacation bank that employees can carry over vacation time that's unused. We also changed our vacation accrual allowances based on years of service, and that was done as part of or in response to a market study that was conducted, part of the county's comp and class study. We're also bringing back our merit system to the county employees so that they will receive a potential pay increase of up to 4% based on their performance, and that's to be determined by their performance evaluations that are conducted by their supervisors on an annual basis. And as you said, this is a 2-year agreement, and so we're very happy and proud that we're able to get to this point with the DCEA, and again, we look forward to a great cooperative relationship with them moving forward.
Okay. Well, commissioners also heard a presentation from the Washoe Tribe at that meeting on commercial development south of Gardnerville on tribal land. Could you give us some detail on what they're going to be doing there?
Sure. It was very nice of the tribal representatives to come forward and offer us this update. It's good to hear what other folks in the county and around the county are doing. They basically talked about their Washoe Travel Plaza, and at full build-out it's going to include the plaza itself, truck and RV parking, a possible gaming component, a full-service restaurant, and quick-serve outlet, as well as a sports bar and lounge. Now that's at full build-out. I'm not sure the sequence or the order of things. It's well under construction right now. Folks will see it rising out of the ground currently, and we'll probably continue to see progress over the next several months. And I'm sure as they get ready to open and put it into operation, we'll probably hear more updates.
So the process is already underway there?
Correct.
Okay.
As I understand, yes, it is.
All right. Commissioners also approved a Genoa Main Street project at that meeting. This is for Wi-Fi modernization within the town of Genoa. Does that mean that when you go to Genoa, you can get Wi-Fi all over the entire town?
Not yet, but really
It's coming.
It's coming, and not over the whole town. The proposal that was brought to the board that they eventually approved was for $20,000 from the redevelopment agency to accommodate Wi-Fi in really the downtown corridor.
The business core.
The business core, yes, correct. And it was done for a few reasons. Number one, it provides connectivity for residents, and then it also is intended to help vendors, especially during some of their significant events, so that they will have connectivity for taking payments electronically. So it's not, now they're no longer limited to cash-only transactions. And apparently there have been, I don't want to say complaints, but just questions or requests for that ability in the past. And so now with this Wi-Fi opportunity, vendors at the various important events down in Genoa will have that ability.
Sure, well, that makes sense with Candy Dance and also Cowboy.
Exactly.
Some pretty big events they're having there.
So this is a big support to all the folks who both patronize and who open shop at those important events.
21st century stuff in Genoa.
That is correct.
All right. Well, let's move on to the August 20th meeting of the Board of Commissioners up at Tahoe. Now, most of this meeting was spent discussing a land acquisition agreement for property off Foothill Road in the Sierra Country Estates subdivision. Now, this was a rather controversial item. There was a lot of public testimony, and in the end, commissioners decided to continue this item. Can you give us kind of an overview of that whole item?
I'll try. The item, as you said, it was lengthy and heavily debated amongst the public who offered comment. Really, my interpretation of it is that the county has been working with an individual property owner regarding the acquisition of land and easements for some water system upgrades that are needed. Some of the surrounding property owners who belong to an HOA expressed concern over the fact that the property we were working with may have had some issues that they wanted to see addressed. Unfortunately, none of those property owners are a party to this agreement. This is really between us and the single property owner who we would be acquiring land from and easements as well. And so ultimately their concerns would be better addressed between those private parties. And so I think that's why the board granted or approved that extension, is to allow both sides to talk further and see if they could negotiate any common ground that could be reflected in the agreement. Ultimately, it will come back to the board at their first September meeting, and then it'll be up to the board to decide if whatever form it takes, if they're comfortable with that.
Okay, so we'll be seeing that in September.
At this point, yes.
Okay, speaking of September, anything else on the September agenda?
The only other big thing we'll be seeing in September, as I said earlier, is a response to drainage and flooding. We're going to be presenting to the board some policy discussion regarding maintenance of private driveway culverts, some funding options, and then ideas on how we want to move forward with projects and drainage needs throughout the county.
Okay, well, Jim, I want to thank you very much for all the information on the Douglas County Board of Commissioners meetings in the month of August. That's what we do here on the County Manager's Report. I'm Lloyd Higuera for the report with County Manager Jim Nichols.